Hi, guys. Welcome back to another episode of
Heavenly Chats. I'm Emma.
And I'm Chloe. And today we're talking about perfectionism, OCD, how God calls us to, what's the line? The whole premise of this one.
The song?
Yeah.
The song is At the Altar by Elevation Worship, and it says, it doesn't have to be perfect, just let it be honest.
Honest. Yes. Okay.
Honest.
This
We're
whole
a little bit unhinged.
This is like a perfect example of like, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be honest. This whole episode. Today we're flying by the seat of our pants, okay? I have 4 podcasts to record. Emma has 2. We're whipping these back to back because life is just crazy, as we say every single week. And it's crazier. It's getting crazier.
Never getting better.
It's never. I think it's getting worse. I think our threshold and tolerance is just building throughout the weeks, and God's just like, all right.
You'll figure it out.
Until I don't even know. I was going to say until we crash out, but like we said in last week's episode or 2 weeks ago, I'm like, even the crash out's a blessing. So, we're doing fine. You know, I was telling Emma, I'm like, if there's any week I'm prepared for this, it's this week. So I'm ready to go. I'm in the follicular phase. I'm caffeinated.
Yeah, today's sponsored by Poppy
And,
Pepsi.
Cheers. Slink. That tastes so good. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yes, sir.
There we go. But anyway, I was listening to the song yesterday on the way to the airport to pick up my parents because, surprise, they're in town. I just add that to the plate. They said, hey, we're going in. Yeah, we said, perfect. I was literally in Miami and I was walking on a 12-mile walk, mind you. And my mom was like, oh, we're going to be in town on Monday. And I was like, or Tuesday. I was like, lovely. Okay. So it's just been crazy, but I love it. I was literally making a story before this while Emma was probably at the door waiting for me in the sun. But I was telling my story. I was telling my Instagram story. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm grateful for this season of my life. And I think the past few months that I've been in this like craziness, I've been getting really overwhelmed, getting really stressed out, almost like resenting all of these like events in my life. And I really had like a moment a couple weeks ago where I was like, you know what, Chloe, this season of your life is such a blessing. Like, enjoy it. Like, Be grateful you have family to come visit and you have people to go celebrate. Like, I have a wedding this weekend. I turn around and have a wedding next week, and then I'm literally the maid of honor. I'm crapping my pants. I have to give a speech. I'm so scared.
Yeah, have we read that act?
Yeah. Well, when I run, I said, yeah, when I run, I like practice it in my head, but I haven't like written it out. But I have a good idea of what I'm going to say. Honestly, I'm better just like winging things.
She's going to not let it be perfect. It's just going to
be honest, period. Maybe we should start the whole speech with that.
Today's speech is
inspired by the song At the Altar, as you two were today. I'm not going to have this be perfect, but it's going to be honest, period.
You should do it. That'd be good.
Actually really good, because it's all about the whole idea of her maid of honor speech is going to be essentially a testimony to God. So it would be fitting. But anyway, I was just saying how I'm like, this season of life, and same for Emma, it's just crazy, but at least, I don't know about you, I feel like you have, but we've done a better job of just like enjoying it and embracing the craziness and the chaos. Because I'm like, how grateful am I to have work to do and to have these things to get done in a day? How grateful am I to have 2 podcasts to record and have you, and we have the flexibility to do so.
Right.
And like, I have family in town, like I said, like, it's just so many fun things. I get to travel. And not every season of my life am I going to be able to do this. When I have kids, it's going to be so much more of a headache to just like up and leave town every few days.
That will bring its own
challenges. Yeah.
Sure.
So I'm like, you know what? This season of life is so fun. So instead of being stressed, I'm taking a good perspective on it, and we're just rocking with it. I was like, I'm fueled by the Holy Spirit. Literally, I'm like, God, please help me get through these next few weeks, because I'm already exhausted coming off Miami. I won't lie, but
that's okay.
It's all right.
No, I know. I kind of had a moment like that too. You go through seasons with prayer where you're like, okay, like, give me things to do.
Yeah.
Give me my whatever, like, fulfill all my dreams and aspirations. And then you have them all and you're like, okay, well, crap, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with them. Like, what do? I don't have time. And so now my prayers have shifted, like, okay, now I have all these things. Help me be able to make time for all of that and do them well, and not like,
like steward them.
Yeah, right. Kind of like piggybacking off what we talked about last week. What else did we talk about last week?
So we're just like stewarding what we have, and like when you ask for God, like appreciating the now before we want more.
Living in what you're like, what you once pray for, but also understanding that it's okay to like take it in and live in it now, and not always be like rushing
to the next.
Yeah. Well,
fire. Let's pray into this. All right. Announcement, you guys. You'd be so proud of me. I prayed at the entire Allura dinner on my own We had a Bible study too, and I piped in for the prayer. We had someone else lead it, but then she was like, if anyone wants to add on, and I was like, my heart was like pounding, and I was like, oh, fine. And so I did say something. Was it the best prayer? No, but I did it. And then that night, prayed at dinner in front of everyone, and I actually did pretty good at the night one. I feel like I'm getting better. So had to tell the podcast because the prayers for my prayer. This is your baseline training. But anyway, hopefully, wow, I just hyped myself up for this. And this prayer, but I go, what?
She's like, crap, now I still have to do it. She said I should have said it after.
Anyway, okay, let me bring this episode. Lord, I thank you for this podcast and this episode and this moment to sit down and chat about you. I pray that you speak through Emma and I today, and we can touch the hearts and the minds and the souls of everyone listening, Lord. I just thank you for this craziness in our lives and the chaoticness that we can embrace and enjoy every single day because it's a gift from you, Lord. And I just pray that anyone who's struggling, anyone who needs to hear this episode, that they do, and they can pass it along to the ones who need it as well, Lord. And I just pray over everyone who's struggling in the highs and in the lows, Lord. And I just thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. That was fire.
I'm getting better. You know what? Literally last week when I was like, wait, it's just a conversation. I think I was like trying to like make it just like I felt like I had to be like a template. Like I had to follow this whole like,
No, I
say
don't
this, and this. And I'm like, wait, I can really just like talk about what I feel called to like pray over.
Sometimes I don't even really think about it. Just freaking flies out of my mouth.
I think I was overthinking it.
the best.
That was the thing. I was like trying to think about what to say, but I'm like, if I can just like let the Holy Spirit speak through me, it helps.
After you burn it. It just has to be honest.
It just has to be honest. Honestly, like
We could end that episode right now.
we could. This could like that's a wrap. That's a wrap.
We're done.
But literally, like my experience with like prayer anxiety and stuff kind of was inspired by this line. This is why this line always stood out to me, because I feel like you sent it to me at one point when this song, there's something on social media, I feel like, or I don't know, but you were like,
I do remember saying
your prayer. And I feel like when I heard that, I was like, wait, that's so true. Like if you struggle with prayer, we can just start off with this topic. But if you get prayer anxiety like me, which I've come to find out is very normal. When we were at this Bible study, there was like 35 girls in Miami with Alora, and we did a Bible study before our run. And the girl we had lead it, she's a very faithful girl, Alana Wickering. Well, she just got married. I don't know her last name, but she's a very godly, faithful woman, and I love her. But it was the first time she led a Bible study, and she was like, I've never prayed out loud in front of a group like that. And she did so good. Like, I had no idea. She told me after.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And so, like, I was like, I almost felt bad. So, like, we asked her if she wanted to lead it, but, like, she didn't tell us that she'd never done it. She just did it. So she's being very obedient, and I was so proud of her. And that's, like, such a testament to her faith, doing something so uncomfortable, but doing it for the Lord. And she like rocked the Bible study. It was so good. Like she did it so flawlessly. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, like we're saying, but like she handled it so well. And the word, like what she had to share was so good, and her prayer was so good. I had no idea. It was the first time. So,
yeah, it's crazy.
And like I said, like this line from this song, that's why I love worship music. You know, there's so many lines when you actually listen to it. It's like, whoa, that was good.
Driving's the best time to listen to it too, because I feel like you feel it when you're listening to it, obviously in church, but like if you're there, it's live, whatever. But when you're like just by yourself, you don't have to worry about like anything that's going on around you. Like you don't have to look at the actual person singing or the band or the drums or whatever. You're just like actually processing.
Yes.
And it's crazy because that whole song,
It's so good.
is basically saying, like, if you haven't listened to it, you guys should go listen to it. But it's basically saying bring everything that you have to the altar, basically like bringing it all to God's feet and like let him do what he wants to with the rest. So it says like bring your broken dreams, like your aspirations, the fear and anxiety like can't live in me. Like I'm gonna drop it all with you, Jesus, and you do the rest with like what you want to do with it. But throughout all of that, nothing we do is ever gonna be perfect. Like I always say all the time is like Jesus was the only perfect person to walk the earth, and he wasn't even perfect, or he was perfect, but he wasn't even like, what am I trying to say? He wasn't even loved for being perfect.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yes,
he wasn't praised because of his perfectionism. Yes.
Yeah.
Words aren't wording right now.
No, that makes complete sense though.
And so for all my people pleasers out there like me, like I'll leave a certain situation. I'm like, does everyone like me, or like did I don't know, like you like leave certain situations, you overplay them over and over and over and over and over and again in your head, and you're like, well, I can't go back and change it now. And so like even if they didn't, like I did the best I could to be welcoming or loving or whatever, and like that's all I can do. Like God knows me and my intentions throughout that, so like at the end of the day, that's all you can really do. The rest isn't up to me, you know? And so it doesn't have to be perfect, but it can just be you and raw and not fake, I guess.
Yeah. I think that's so good, because I think two things that everyone, women and men, struggle with a lot is perfectionism, like OCD, and the people pleasing. But then I feel like the other side of it is anxiety and worry and stress. And they intertwine. But this was like a big topic actually in our Bible study this weekend at Alora. People were sharing like what they kind of carried with them, what their struggle was, and what they needed to like learn to leave behind. And a lot of it was perfectionism and control and feeling like they had to do everything right. And I think in the society we live in, we're praised for, winning. We're praised for doing things great. But we forget often like the heart posture behind it. And I think that's what's really important. It's like, why are you doing it? Why do you want to succeed in this? Is this honoring God? Is this helping others? Is this serving other people? Like, what is the benefit to this? And I think we lose sight of that a lot of the times because our ego gets in the way and our pride gets into the way of, oh, I want to be successful. I want to be the best. I want to be number one. And typically that's driven out of insecurity because you feel so insecure and not confident in other areas of your life. So you try to be perfect in like this one spot to like feel that fulfillment. But little do you know, like God can provide that confidence. God can provide that fulfillment if you just stay obedient to him and you have your heart set on him rather than your ego, rather than your pride.
Yeah. I was at our lead night the other night for all like the leaders at our church. And so our pastor did like a smaller little sermon and it was so good. Like he's the same person up there that he is around 20 people, around 5 people, around 5,000 people. It's just like, it's really cool to see. But he was talking about all the 12 disciples and like their characteristics and why they were chosen and who was part of Jesus's like closest inner circle and who wasn't, and kind of why, and the situations like that. And so all of them are leaders, helpers, good intuition, stuff like that, like all of the good and bad characteristics of all of them. And then the last one we talked about was Judas. And Judas is technically known for being the last picked disciple. He's known for being known for his betrayal. So he was like doubting Jesus almost, but he was like one of the closest people to him because he was part of his only 12 disciples. Like if you think about how many people knew Jesus, only 12 people were like
knew him.
Right. Like crazy. And you still were that close and you were like doubting. Same with Thomas. He was a doubter. Anyways, doubting Thomas is his name. Anyways, he was talking about out of the 12 and all the characteristics I listed, which one do you think that you're most alike? And he was like, I'm sure all of you think of one based on the characteristics that you're most like. And he goes, but to be honest, we're all Judas. We all were the last picked, like almost in this situation, but like the one that sinned the most or whatever. It says we're almost like Judas. We all have Judas inside of us that Jesus still invites in despite us. Judas was Jesus's faith adventure, Jesus's project. So he was like the one that he had to babysit or was like his faith project almost. So it's kind of crazy that you can be that close but still be so imperfect. Does that make any sense? Like none of us are ever going to be like walking the earth and go throughout an entire day and not sin. Let's just be real. Even if all the things that you are so bad about, like with sinning, you don't do that day, you still think about it, or you still think of something that you shouldn't have thought, or you still internally judge but didn't say it out of your mouth, or you still kind of cussed in your head but didn't say it out loud. That's better. And like that's great. We all do it. I do it too. But that's still not perfect. We're never, ever, 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 ever going to be perfect. And that's not what he's looking for. You know what I mean? Like, he knows he died, literally died on the cross because he knew that we weren't going to be perfect and sin leads to death.
Yeah.
The reason we're alive is because he died.
And he died knowing, like, for the reason to forgive our sin.
And he invited Judas in knowing that he was still going to mess up. And he wasn't perfect. It's like, so then why am I trying to please everybody that like isn't going to give me any satisfaction anyways?
Exactly.
You know, when you look at it from that sense, it's like we just have it so this is so exhausting.
I know. So backwards. And it's like running towards like nothing. You know, we're exhausting ourselves every day to like please these people and thinking it's going to fulfill us and satisfy us. but it only like, I feel like pushes us 10 steps further back. And then we're constantly trying to run harder at it. But it's like, if we just turn around and run towards God instead, he's right there, you know? And like, that's where we find the satisfaction and confidence, fulfillment.
Right.
But it takes that awareness and that understanding. And that's why we're talking about it here today, because it took us a while to realize that, you know, and it's still battles where like you want to turn around and like go please everyone and look like this successful businesswoman or businessman, or, you know, be the perfect Christian or be the perfect daughter or be the perfect wife or girlfriend or friend or whatever. But it's like, we're all going to fall short in some areas. So the best that we can do, I think, is to run towards God and be more like Jesus and do what he calls us to do in each of those seasons. Like, what does God call me to do as a best friend? Like, what are the traits? What are the characteristics God wants me to be in that friendship? You know, where does God call me in this relationship, you know? And that's where we'll find satisfaction. And that's where I found confidence, because I'll be honest, like this Allura event this last weekend was such a test to my like stress and my anxiety and my worry, and like, or it was a test to my faith, you know, because like so much could go wrong. We put so much into this. A lot of my ego was like resting on how this would go. And I had to just like surrender that and give it up to God. And we'll talk about surrender in the next episode for next week. But it's really scary when it's something you love so much and you're so passionate about it and you want it to go good. But I was like, Chloe, center yourself. Like, what's the reason you want this to succeed? Is it to look good on Instagram that so many people came to this event and it looked perfect and it looked like so much fun? Or do you want to actually encounter the women there? Do you want to speak into them? Do you want to speak life over them? Do you want to have them
picture of it all?
Yes, turn them to the Lord, turn them to a healthy relationship with exercise and food and community. And after that, I like let it go. Like I was uptight, anxious, because like I have anxiety. That's like my battle. And there were so many unknowns. And I had to sit there and be like, God, like get me through this, like clear my mind, like help, like remind me why I'm here. Because out of my own flesh, when you're like leaning on that and you're leaning in your own pride and your own ego, I was literally wound up. I couldn't talk. I'm like, I can't even enjoy this brunch. We had like coffee before we went to the Bible study with like the girls that stayed in our house. I didn't even get coffee. I had a Alani packet before, but I'm like, I can't have any more caffeine because I'm so anxious right now. I feel like I'm gonna pass out. And my friends were all catching on to it. I'm like, dude, I can't shake it. Like it was like it was literally overtaking me. I kid you not. We went to the Bible study. We cracked the Bible opened in prayer, and it was gone. And I was like, wow, like you just need to bring Jesus into the realm with you. He's there. We got to like invite him in. And once I did that, like it went away because it just recentered me, and it reshifted my focus on like encountering him, inviting people closer to him, speaking about him, you know, and it was just the best. Like we had music blasting, and when the worship music came on, I could just feel myself like even more at peace, you know? And it was just such a clear representation of the difference when you're doing it for your own ego, your own pride, your own fulfillment, satisfying others, because I was more concerned about like other girls having fun and enjoying the event rather than it being for the right reasons.
Which
like,
is so valid as an entrepreneur, CEO, whatever. I don't think fully all the time they're always enjoying themselves. Like, oh, this is great.
But again, it's like it's not perfect. Like
no,
they're saying,
and it doesn't need to be. I'm sure all the girls there would rather you three running it be involved and be talking to them, not like completely ignoring them, making sure everything is ran perfectly. Because at the end of the day, there was probably hundreds of things that went wrong, not perfectly to your plan. Like, ooh, that wasn't exactly how I envisioned it. Did anyone there know?
Right, exactly.
Did anyone there be like,
exactly,
they're not very good at this? Absolutely not. I'm absolutely not. There's no way. And even if they were, you guys being good people or talking to them and praying with them or whatever you guys did is so much bigger than like having every placemat perfectly and having every name tag and having everything look perfect. It's just not gonna be like that.
Right.
It never would be unless you have a huge coordinator there and taking it all over for you, or you guys are literally not even involved in it at all.
Right.
It's not gonna happen that way. And I'm sure that's how a lot of people feel in different situations with meetings and Zooms and I don't even know, merchandise, whatever you guys do, but it's never gonna happen. So you almost just have to like let it go and just be like, it's gonna
go the way God wants it too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's what we reminded. It's like God's gonna place exactly the people that are meant to be here to be here. He's gonna like run this day the way it's meant to go. Like we just had to put faith in that it would work out. And everything did work out. Like it was so much fun. And like the reaction, the response we got from the women were great. And they were even more, exceedingly more than we expected. You know, there were like a lot of moments where you were like,
they put so many expectations on.
yeah. And it's hard because like the 3 girls that we run, I'm definitely the most type B out of the 3 of us. But even being around 2 type A people, and I love them to death, and this isn't like a judgment thing, but I realized how much it shifted my focus on making everything perfect. And like you have to remember to guard your mind and your heart in situations like that too, because
but it wouldn't work if you were all type A.
Exactly. If we were all, it'd be bad. So it was that good combination. And again, it's like God's placed the right people, like us 3 together, because he knows we'll balance each other out in the perfect way. Right. But you have to be just aware. You have to be aware of where your mind's going. You have to be aware of where your heart's going. You have to be aware of just self-aware, like spiritually aware of what's going on, especially when you're in these like high stress, crazy, busy moments where you can't just slow down and process. Like there are going to be days and there are going to be weeks and years of your life where it just feels like you're flying by the seat of your pants, you're on full speed and you just like can't slow down. But you have to learn in those like intense moments to like still rest spiritually, mentally. Even if you're still like running, you're still busy, you can still like slow your mind down. And I think like prayer helped a lot. Like I never didn't pray. I prayed over every meal I prayed at night, I prayed in the morning, I prayed on the run, I prayed every time I felt anxious, like I just went to God. And I truly think that like was so pivotal for me because old Chloe would have never done that. And I don't know how she would have gotten through that event. And it was a good event. Nothing even bad happened. So like imagine when things don't go right and we don't go to God, how ugly and stressful that could turn out to be, you know?
Right.
But
yeah, honestly, fire. I mean, this just leads into so many things of like comparison and envy and fear and all the things that it doesn't need to. It's like we can't compare our natural life to someone's highlight reel.
Yeah.
Right. You're never going to feel good enough. You're never going to feel superior enough if that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So,
but I think that's why God calls us to like, just like I said, the verse, like just be honest with him. It doesn't need to be perfect because he knows when we get our heart set on perfection, where it affects. Like it has so much negative effect on all these different aspects of our life. It's such a powerful message. And if we have it twisted backwards,
right,
like it's literally like a wrecking ball in your life everywhere. Like your career, your friendships, your self-confidence, your self-worth, all of it can be so hurt by the pressure to be perfect. And like literally nobody's perfect. And even too, like when I'm around all these girls and you have these honest conversations, it's like, oh, like you realize how truly like you're not alone in anything. Almost every single thought and experience we have
is not
just most percentage of other women probably have those exact same thoughts. Like I was blown away when I was speaking to Alana and she was like, yeah, like I get nervous to pray like out loud and stuff.
But
and I'm like,
here's
whoa,
the other
like,
thing though.
In my mind, she was just
right. And no judgment at all. People probably think that about me or you or whatever. And people probably had no idea your heart was pounding and you were stressed about that. And like, unless you voiced that, probably nobody ever knew. And people coming in following you, they're probably like scared to meet you almost. And you're freaking out on your own.
Right.
Like, oh my gosh, like what do I do?
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like we can't compare our raw self to someone else's highlight reel. If we post one clip of us praying, people are like, oh my gosh, like I don't pray enough.
Yeah.
I don't do well enough. It's like, that's not what we're trying to portray.
Yeah.
But then again, people just get in their own head. We all get in our own head. It's like, when I scroll on Instagram, you see someone's edited photo. It's very obviously edited. And you're like, she looks so good.
Yeah. But then
her skin looks perfect. Her hair, her lips.
Go over the layer back.
And then you meet them in person.
Yeah.
No judgment again. But you're like, oh.
Yeah.
And like, not that they're not still beautiful. It's just very different. You can't compare the two because one's real and one's not. You know what I mean? And so it's like,
one thing I try to work on is like viewing something at like such a like one layer deeper. And when you see this like perfect thing, be like, okay, if a lot of times it's like obviously edited, you know, and it's like obviously manipulated. But then I almost want to pray over the fact that they felt the need to change it, you know, and they felt the need to look perfect on social media because in my mind, because I've been there, it's like I know the thoughts that they had to get themselves to post that, you know, or to make those changes or to do those certain things.
You just have to pray for them.
Yes. And so it's like take everything with a grain of salt, but also take everything with like a deeper understanding. Like try to understand where their mind's at. You know, it's like a lot of people who you think are just perfect and confident and all these things. It's like they probably look perfect and they probably come off perfect because they struggle so deeply inside to be perfect that it's like eating them alive, you know? And it's like, that's sad. Like that's not a state you want to live in either.
Right.
So it's like, so everyone needs prayer in some way. And I just think it's hard. There's not going to be a perfect balance. You know what I'm saying? Like life just isn't simply perfect. So I feel like just learning to accept like the effort, just the pursuit, I think is what's important in the heart posture. Like that's what God calls us to do, is like pursue him as hard as we can with the right intentions and have our heart set on him. And that's the best that we can do, you know?
Right. I also think everybody's standard of perfect is different.
Yeah.
And you learn this a lot in relationships because we're going to be so real. Like I have kind of high standards for like who I'm with. Like I've seen my parents get divorced. I've seen things I don't want that for myself. I don't want that for my family. Love you, Mom. Love you, Dad. You guys are awesome. But that's just not what I want for my family. And so like growing up seeing that, I think you're like, okay, like you see a lot of red flags in people earlier or later and you're like, whoa, everyone's idea of perfect is different. And so sometimes I'll like have to have these conversations with Jake and it's like, he tried it to be perfect and his perfect looks very different than mine. And mine looks very different than his. And so it's like, you just have to give credit to like where he thought he was meeting the expectation or where I thought I was meeting the expectation. And like, they're gonna be different, but you can talk about it and accept someone for who they really are. If they have 10 amazing things, but 3 things you're like, I don't know if I want that. It's like, you're never gonna find your perfect person. The grass isn't always greener somewhere else. And that's why I think there's so much like adultery and cheating and all of that. It's like we all grow and mature and realize that. But I think a lot of people that think they're going to choose someone else that's going to have better, whatever. It's like they're not perfect either. Yeah. They're not filling any void. You know what I mean? They have their own issues too. So everyone's idea of perfect is different. That's why people have certain people they're compatible with and certain people they're not. And but it all takes talking and communicating and understanding. It takes time to fully know like people's characteristics and mannerisms and the way they react to things or whatever.
I mean, it took us like I feel like a year with our significant others to like fully, and there's still so much we have to learn about them, but it's like to fully understand like their thought process and why they react and why they do certain things. It probably took a year. But there was like a couple things you saying in that made me think of, and it's like, one, before getting into relationships or anything, it's like that's why it's important to set boundaries and understand like what your needs are versus your wants, like going into it, because then it's easier to like remove the emotion but like protect your heart at the same time, because God calls us to do that. And so it makes those decisions of like, no one's perfect, you're never going to meet your perfect person, but like, do they meet the boundaries and the necessities and the needs of you? Because God has put those needs on your heart for a reason, and he has created someone to satisfy those. But there might be some like surface level wants that maybe aren't there, but also I think they aren't all there because God's trying to teach you something along the way. Like there are certain things about Kyler that I'm like, initially I'm like, oh, I don't want that. But then I meet him and like I've accepted them and I've like learned to appreciate them and love them about him. So like God will utilize those things to like teach you and grow you as a person. And then 2, another thing, there's a few things I don't even remember. Like you were saying too, like no one's perfect. And I think learning to compromise is important as well, because we get so like selfish and self-seeking, and God doesn't call us to be that either. He calls us to be like servants of each other. When you're husband and wife, it's different when you're dating. Like the roles and expectations on a dating relationship are completely different as like a marriage.
I was just talking about this to somebody.
You have to be like, you have to serve each other in a relationship or in like a marriage. And that's going to come with a lot of compromise. And, and then my third point that I was thinking of is like, your 100% is going to look different every single day. And that's what I've really had to like remind myself of on my own, of like each day. I'm like, sometimes I feel guilty for not doing enough. Being self-employed, I'm like, I don't have someone being like, get this done and then you're good. It's like, it's all up to me. So I have to just know like what I give 110% every day, but that might be different every single, like my energy levels, my mental clarity or my stress or my emotions or whatever, my energy is it's different every day. So 100% could look like my 80% yesterday, but it's all that I have. I'm giving everything I can give at that time. And so in relationships, it's like they can't show up at their 110% self every single day. And that's when you have to step in, you know, and be that other 60% that they might need to like bring 100% to the relationship, or understand them. And that's why it's so important to get to know your partner, because you have to be able to read like, okay, like he didn't do these things for me today, but like he did like he has so much on his plate right now and he's doing everything he can. It's not like he's choosing to abandon those things or he's choosing to neglect that area, but like he literally just physically can't do it today.
And use your discernment.
Right. And that's why God gives us discernment. Right. And it's like God's given these gifts to us to understand. And I just think we get so like selfish a lot of the times in relationships.
Oh my gosh, all the time. So like, he's not expecting me to be perfect. Right. Why am I expecting him to be?
And imagine if he was. Sometimes I flip it and I'm like, if Kyler was setting these expectations on me, like how would I feel?
Right. I feel like it almost makes them feel worse.
Yeah.
And like crack under pressure, and then it almost gets better or gets worse. And it's like, well, I don't want to risk it. You know, it's okay.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say too is how you just kind of have to move on, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's past is perfect. Nobody's future is gonna be perfect. Let's not hang it over people's heads. Let's not, like,
well, God
there's thousands of things that I could say about friends or about my boyfriend. Like, oh, well, you used to do that. That's not gonna help anything.
Yeah.
I've had so many like friends be like, well, he always is constantly bringing up this or he's constantly bringing up that, and it's like, that happened who knows how long ago. Like, why are we even talking about it now? Like, we can't change it. We won't change it. And talking about it is only making everything right now worse.
Yeah, it's like bringing up those emotions. It's like you're living in the past again when you talk about it.
And it's like, there's just no need.
No, it's only we're talking about if it's like reoccurring and it's becoming like a present thing. Like, it's a reoccurring existing thing. But if it's in the past and it was like a one-time done deal and they've learned, matured, grown, and healed from it, it's like there's no reason to redig that.
I even have to do that with myself. Like, I used to think it was fun like a while back just to like go through and like watch all my old Instagram posts or whatever. And now like I just, like you said about your Snapchat memories, like I couldn't even like, it was just hard for me to watch because it just like brings you back to either like a dark time or like
puts you back into that headspace that you once
just
were.
Like, if God doesn't remind me of that's who I used to be, then like why should I do that to myself?
So good.
You know what I mean? And so it's like I had to honestly stop doing that. Or if like I had to go back and like find an old photo to show to somebody, or it's like, no, like there's just no need for my own peace in my life. That's like, and like people try to dig up people's past in relationships. And it's like,
my gosh.
I never once asked. I did not want to know. I've never asked you.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to know, because good or bad, I don't care enough. It doesn't.
Well, that seems no good. Like everything I know about Kyler's exes, I'm like, ooh, like it brings up, it's only negative.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it only
was positive they wouldn't be with them.
Yeah.
Right. And so
it's like only like brings negative emotions to me. Like if it's like a comparison thing or a jealousy thing or an insecurity thing, it's never like, oh, learning that makes me feel better. It's like, that's why we're not called to share that stuff.
No one in their life has ever said, oh, I met so-and-so's ex today. I feel great.
Yeah.
No one ever on the planet Earth has ever felt that way.
Yeah. And I'm not even like a jealous, crazy type. Like I've never been like that. But like I'm still feeling that way. So I can't even imagine the girls who struggle with that already or have been hurt. Like I've never been cheated on. I've never had a reason to like worry or distrust or not like someone's ex. But like those feelings still exist.
Right.
So it's like you have to learn to protect your heart. And that's what you're doing by not even asking or wanting to know. And that's really like, that's a really good thing.
To me, I'm like, it's never going to help anything.
No, exactly.
If he really wanted to be with them, he'd be with them. If I was, it's just not going to do anything.
No.
Like, it's really not going to help.
Yeah.
So, it's over. Yeah. It was part of his life before. I'm not going to be a freak about it. And like, it is what it is. It changed him and made him who he is now. So like, why should it matter to me? Like, it's not my business. Unless it becomes my business, it doesn't need to be my business. So I'm out.
I'm out.
But yeah, no one's ever going to be perfect. Give people grace.
Yeah.
Give yourself grace. We can't please everybody. We can try. We can be nice. We can be kind. We can be welcoming. But like,
I think it's a difference though of like where God calls us to be and where like maybe society or where we out of our flesh think that person wants.
Right.
It's like pray about it and do it in like a spiritual manner.
Right.
Like spiritualize the situation rather than making it like,
Right.
Yeah, because we are called to be like good people,
Right.
and godly people, but that's all like a standard out of the Bible of like where he calls us to be and what he calls us to do, rather than like the world. Like, don't do things for like the world to accept you.
Right.
Do it based upon the word.
Right. Fire.
I think we should just wrap it up there.
Yeah, I think we kind of kept that.
Anyway,
We're like, we kind of killed.
I hope this helps you guys if you struggle with perfectionism. Again, yeah, that was great. Was it perfect? No.
No.
But it was our best effort.
We're like,
We're like chilling on the couch. I'm like, my feet aren't in this, are they? Ew.
okay.
But yeah, we love you guys so much. We hope this helps. We hope this maybe shifted your perspective on maybe standards you hold against yourself or other people.
Right.
Send this to somebody that you think it could help. And yeah, we love you guys so much. We'll see you next week.
We'll
see you in heaven.